The fluorescent lights of the DMV buzzed overhead as I sat between my parents on a plastic chair that had seen better days. My mother kept checking her watch, sighing dramatically every 30 seconds like we were being held hostage instead of waiting our turn like everyone else. "This is taking forever," Mom complained, shooting me a look like the wait time was somehow my fault. "Ashley has an important meeting at 2. Her regional manager position doesn't allow for wasting time in places like this." I said nothing. I learned years ago that silence was easier than trying to defend myself against the golden child narrative they deconstructed around my younger sister. Ashley sat across from us scrolling through her phone, occasionally flashing her screen to Mom to show off her latest Instagram post, a carefully curated photo of her morning routine that included a latte she definitely didn't make herself and motivational quotes about being a boss babe. She worked at a mid-level retail management position making maybe $52,000 a year, but you'd think she ran a Fortune 500 company the way my parents talked about her. Unlike some people, Ashley actually made something of herself, Dad had said at dinner 3 nights ago, not even looking at me as he cut his steak. Regional manager at 26. Meanwhile, you're still doing your little freelance thing from your apartment. My little freelance thing was a digital marketing agency I built from scratch 7 years ago. We had 42 employees across 3 states and had just been named one of the top agencies in the country by Forbes. Last year's revenue was $8.3 million. But I'd stopped trying to explain this to them around year 3, when Mom had patted my hand and said, "That's nice, dear, but when are you getting a real job with benefits?" They didn't know that I owned my apartment building. Or the 3 others in the downtown area. They didn't know about the Tesla Model S in my private garage, or the Range Rover, or the vintage Porsche 911 I'd bought myself for my 30th birthday. They saw my 2015 Honda Civic, the car I bought in college and kept for sentimental reasons and errands, and assumed that's all I could afford. Number 47, the DMV clerk called out. Dad checked our ticket. "That's us." Finally. He stood up, and Mom grabbed my arm, pulling me up with surprising force. "Remember," she hissed in my ear as we walked to the counter, "Ashley needs a car. That new development she's moving to requires 2 parking spaces, and she needs 1 for guests. Your car will be perfect for her second spot." "She has a car," I said quietly. "She has a lease that's ending, and she wants to buy it out, but that's expensive," Mom snapped. "You can get another used car. You don't need anything fancy for your lifestyle." My lifestyle included a vacation home in Cabo, but sure. We approached the counter where a middle-aged woman with kind eyes and reading glasses on a chain smiled at us. "Good afternoon. How can I help you today?" "We need to transfer vehicle ownership," Dad announced, pushing forward the title to my Honda. From her, he jerked his thumb at me, to her sister. The clerk, whose name tag read Margaret, took the title and examined it. "All right, I'll need both parties to present identification and fill out the transfer form. Is this a gift or a sale?" "Gift," Ashley said quickly, finally looking up from her phone. She smiled at Margaret, the same smile she used on everyone she wanted to charm. "My sister is so generous. She knows I need it more." Margaret nodded slowly, typing something into her computer. "And your name, ma'am?" She looked at me. "Sarah Morrison," I said. Margaret's fingers paused on the keyboard. She looked at me, then at her screen, then back at me. "Sarah Morrison of Morrison Digital Solutions?" My mother's head snapped toward me. "What?" "Yes," I said simply. Margaret's expression shifted from confusion to something like awe. "Oh my goodness. I've been following your company's growth. My daughter actually works in marketing, and she says your agency is the dream place to work. The benefits package you offer is incredible." She showed me the article about how you provide fully paid parental leave and mental health days. Ashley's phone screen went dark in her hand. "Wait, what are you talking about?" Mom demanded. "Sarah does freelance work from her apartment." Margaret looked genuinely confused now. "Ma'am, Morrison Digital Solutions is one of the top digital marketing agencies in the region. They have offices in 3 states. She turned to me. "I actually wanted to ask, my daughter submitted her resume last month. She has 5 years of experience in social media management." "Tell her to email me directly," I said, pulling out one of my business cards, the ones I kept in my wallet but never showed my family. "Reference this conversation. I'll make sure it gets to the right department." Margaret took the card with shaking hands. "Thank you so much. She'll be thrilled." She looked back at her computer screen, scrolling through something. "Now, about this transfer. I'm just a bit confused, Ms. Morrison." "About what?" Dad's voice had taken on an edge. "Well, according to our records, Ms. Morrison currently has 17 vehicles registered to her name through her corporate account." Margaret adjusted her glasses, reading from the screen. 2 Tesla Model S sedans, 1 Range Rover Sport, 1 Porsche 911, 3 BMW 5 Series, 4 Toyota Camrys, Those are probably company cars for employees, 1 vintage Mercedes SL Class, 2 Audi A6s, 1 Lexus LS, 1 Cadillac Escalade, and, oh, this 2015 Honda Civic. The silence was deafening. Ashley's designer purse, a $2,400 Michael Kors bag she bought on credit, slipped from her fingers and hit the floor with a thud. Nobody moved to pick it up. That can't be right, Mom said, her voice thin. You must have the wrong Sarah Morrison. Margaret pulled out her driver's license from the pile of documents I'd handed over. Same address as the corporate registration. Same date of birth. She looked at me with genuine curiosity now. I have to ask, ma'am, why are you transferring your oldest, least valuable vehicle? If your sister needs a car, surely one of the newer models would be more appropriate. Because, Dad said, his face turning red, Sarah was giving Ashley this car as a gift. Because she's family. I didn't say I was giving it to her, I said quietly. You told me I was giving it to her. At the DMV. In public. Without asking me first. Don't be ridiculous, Mom sputtered. You don't need all those cars. What are you even talking about? You live in a tiny apartment and work from home. I own the building my apartment is in, I said, still calm. I bought it 4 years ago. I also own 3 other properties in the downtown area. The company cars are for my employees. The luxury vehicles are mine. I keep the Honda because it was my first car, and I like it. Margaret was watching this exchange with wide eyes, her hands frozen over her keyboard. Ashley found her voice. You're lying. If you were rich, you'd have told us. You'd have shown us. You wouldn't drive around in that piece of junk and let you think what? I asked. That I was struggling? That I needed your pity? Your advice about getting a real job? I turned to my mother. You told Aunt Linda at Thanksgiving that you were embarrassed to tell people what I did for a living. That Ashley was your success story. Well, you never told us the truth. Mom's voice was rising, drawing attention from other people waiting in the DMV. I tried, I said. For 3 years, I tried. I invited you to my office opening. You said you were busy helping Ashley move into her apartment. I sent you the Forbes article. Dad said it was nice and changed the subject to Ashley's promotion to assistant manager. I showed you photos of the vacation home. Mom said I probably rented it for the weekend to look successful on social media. Margaret cleared her throat softly. So, should I process this transfer, or? No, I said simply. I'm not transferring anything. You have to, Ashley shrieked, causing several people to turn and stare. We already told everyone I was getting a new car. I already gave up my lease. You gave up your lease before asking me if I'd give you my car? I asked. The red splotches creeping up Ashley's neck told me everything I needed to know. Sarah, don't be selfish, Dad said, his voice taking on that authoritative tone he'd used my whole childhood. Ashley is your sister. She needs this car. She needs a car, I corrected. She doesn't need mine. I looked at Margaret. I'm sorry for wasting your time. I won't be transferring ownership today. How can you do this to your own sister? Mom demanded. After everything we've done for you, what have you done for me? The question came out before I could stop it. Mom looked taken aback. We raised you. We fed you. You paid for Ashley's college. I took out $89,000 in student loans that I finished paying off 2 years ago. You gave Ashley $15,000 for a down payment on her first apartment. I bought my own place. You've taken Ashley on 7 vacations in the last 5 years. I've never been invited to a single one. That's because you were always working. Dad protested. I was building a business, I said. A successful one. That you've never once asked about, visited, or acknowledged as anything more than a hobby. Ashley's hands were shaking as she picked up her purse from the floor. I can't believe how selfish you're being. I'm your baby sister. You're supposed to take care of me. You're 26 years old with a job and an apartment, I said. You don't need taking care of. You need to buy your own car like everyone else does. With what money? She shouted. Do you know how expensive everything is? I can barely afford my rent and my car payment and my lifestyle. Your lifestyle, I repeated slowly, the one where you post photos of designer bags and expensive brunches and weekend trips to Miami. I have to maintain my image. Ashley said. For my career. Your retail management career, I said. The one making $52,000 a year. Her face went white. How do you know my salary? You told me. Last Christmas. When you were explaining why you couldn't possibly contribute to Mom and Dad's gift and I should cover the entire $3,200 for their cruise. Sarah, that's enough, Dad said. You're making a scene. No, I said, surprised by how steady my voice sounded. For the first time in my life, I'm actually not making a scene. I'm just not giving you what you want. And you're realizing you can't force me to. Margaret had given up all pretense of not listening and was watching us with the same fascination people usually reserved for reality TV. "Fine," Mom said, her voice icy. "Keep your stupid car. But don't come crying to us when you need help. Do and expect us to be there for you when your little business fails and you have nothing." My business revenue last year was $8.3 million, I said quietly. This year we're projected to hit $11.2 million. I have 42 employees who depend on me for their livelihoods. I own 4 properties in the downtown area with a combined value of approximately $6.7 million. My personal net worth is around $4.3 million. I don't think I'll be needing help anytime soon. The numbers hung in the air like a bomb that had just detonated. Ashley's voice cracked when she finally spoke. "You've been rich this whole time and you let us think, you let us believe, that I was a failure?" I finished. "Yes. Because every time I tried to tell you the truth, you dismissed it. You made it clear that unless I was doing things your way, working a traditional job, married with kids, living the life you approved of, I wasn't successful. So I stopped trying to convince you. We're your family," Mom said, and for the first time, there were tears in her eyes. "You should have tried harder." "I tried for 3 years," I said. "Then I realized you didn't want to know the truth. You wanted the version of me that fit your narrative. The struggling, single daughter who made poor life choices. It made you feel better about yourselves. Made Ashley look better by comparison." "That's not true," Dad said, but his voice lacked conviction. "Really?" I pulled out my phone and scrolled through my messages. "Here's a text from Mom from 2 months ago. Ashley got another promotion. We're so proud. Wish we had more to celebrate with you, but I know you're doing your best with your little website work." I scrolled further. Here's one from Dad. "Ashley is thinking of buying a house. A whole house. At her age. Meanwhile, you should really think about finding a roommate to split rent." I looked at Ashley. And here's my favorite. "From you, 3 weeks ago. Can you believe Mom and Dad still help me out sometimes? I know you're too proud to ask, but I'm sure they'd help you too if you admitted you were struggling." Ashley's face had gone from white to red to white again. "I was trying to be nice." "No," I said. "You were trying to feel superior. And I let you. Because it was easier than fighting the image you all had of me." Margaret cleared her throat. "Miss Morrison, I don't mean to interrupt, but there are other people waiting. Do you need anything else from me today?" "No," I said. "I'm sorry for the disruption." "Don't apologize," Margaret said kindly. She lowered her voice. "My daughter is definitely emailing you. And for what it's worth, I think you're handling this with remarkable grace." I thanked her and turned to leave. Mom grabbed my arm. "Sarah, wait. We need to talk about this. We can't just leave things like this." "Why not?" I asked. "You've spent my entire adult life leaving our relationship exactly like this. With you deciding what my life means and me trying to prove I'm worth your respect." "We do respect you," Dad said. "No, you don't," I said simply. "You respect Ashley. You respect her job, her choices, her lifestyle. You've made that clear for years. And that's fine. I don't need your respect anymore. I have a team of 42 people who respect my leadership. I have clients who trust my expertise. I have a business that speaks for itself." "So that's it?" Ashley said, her voice sharp with tears. "You're just going to abandon your family because we didn't worship your success?" "I'm not abandoning anyone," I said. "I'm just not giving you my car. That's all this was ever about, remember? You wanted something of mine, and you assumed I'd hand it over because I always do. But not this time." I walked out of the DMV into the bright afternoon sunshine. Behind me, I could hear Mom's voice rising in argument, Dad trying to calm her down, Ashley crying. My phone started ringing before I even reached my car. "Mom." I declined the call. It rang again immediately. "Ashley." Declined. A text from Dad. "This is ridiculous. Call your mother." I turned off my phone and drove home in my beloved Honda Civic, the car they'd tried to take from me, the car that had been with me since the beginning of my success story. The calls and texts didn't stop. Over the next 2 weeks, I received 47 calls from various family members. Mom left voicemails that progressed from angry to hurt to confused to desperate. Ashley sent texts that ranged from all-caps accusations to tearful apologies to demands that I fix this. Aunt Linda called, having heard the story from Mom, edited, I'm sure, to paint me as the villain. "Your mother says you've been hiding money from the family. That you have millions and you've been letting them struggle." "They haven't been struggling," I said calmly. "They own their home outright. Dad has a pension. They took a $3,200 cruise last year that I paid for. Ashley makes $52,000 a year and lives in a nice apartment. Nobody was struggling except in comparison to the wealth they didn't know I had." "Still," Aunt Linda said, "family helps family." "I've helped," I said. "For years. I just didn't do it by handing over my assets when demanded." The story spread through the extended family like wildfire. Some sided with my parents. How dare I hide my success, how selfish not to share, how cold to refuse my sister a car. Others, particularly the cousins who'd also been overshadowed by golden children, quietly reached out with messages of support. 3 weeks after the DMV incident, Ashley showed up at my building. She didn't know I owned it, so she buzzed my apartment from the street entrance, probably assuming I rented. I let her in and met her in the lobby of what she thought was just my apartment building. "Nice place," she said, looking around at the renovated lobby with its modern furniture and plant walls. "Must be expensive to rent here." "I don't rent," I said. She absorbed this, her face tight. "Right. Because you own it. You own everything, apparently." We stood there in silence for a moment. "I got a car," Ashley finally said. "A used Toyota. Nothing fancy. The payments are manageable." "Good," I said. "Mom and Dad are barely speaking to you." "I know. They're telling everyone you've been lying to them for years." "I wasn't lying," I said. "I just stopped trying to convince them of the truth." Ashley's eyes filled with tears. "Did you hate us? All this time, were you just laughing at us behind our backs?" "No," I said, and I meant it. "I never hated you. I just got tired of being treated like a failure when I wasn't one." "We didn't treat you like a failure," Ashley protested weakly. I could have listed examples. The comments, the comparisons, the dismissals. But what was the point? "Why did you come here, Ashley?" She wiped her eyes. "I wanted to say I'm sorry. For assuming you'd just give me your car. For never asking about your work. For everything." I studied her face, looking for signs of manipulation, but she just looked tired. "Thank you," I said. "I appreciate that. Is there a way to fix this?" "That depends," I said. "On whether you want a relationship with me as I actually am, or as you've always thought I was." Ashley nodded slowly. "I need to think about that." "Take your time," I said. "I'm not going anywhere." She left, and I watched her walk to her new used Toyota. Not as flashy as what she'd wanted, but hers. Paid for with her own money. 6 months later, my business landed a major international client worth $2.1 million annually. The news ran in the local business section with a photo of me and my leadership team. Mom texted, "Saw your photo in the paper. Congratulations." It wasn't much. But it was something. Dad called the next week. "Your mother wants to know if you're coming to Thanksgiving." "Am I invited?" I asked. "You're always invited," he said. "Your family." "Will I be expected to sit at the kids' table while Ashley holds court?" I asked. "Will I be introduced as your daughter who does website stuff?" There was a long silence. "I don't know how to fix this, Sarah." "Start by acknowledging what happened," I said. "Start by admitting you dismissed my success for years because it didn't look the way you expected it to." Another silence. "Then, I'm proud of you. I should have said that years ago. It wasn't everything. But it was a start. I did go to Thanksgiving. I brought my Tesla, because I was done hiding." Ashley was there with her new boyfriend, a middle school teacher who seemed genuinely kind. She introduced me as her sister who runs this amazing company downtown. Mom's still fond over Ashley more. Old habits die hard. But when Aunt Linda asked what I did, Mom said, "Sarah owns Morrison Digital Solutions." They were just featured in Forbes. Small victories. The Honda Civic is still in my garage. I drive it sometimes, when I need to remember where I started. When I need to remind myself that my worth was never determined by their recognition of it. I built something remarkable, not for their approval, but because I could. Because I wanted to. Because success doesn't require an audience to be real. And that's worth more than any approval they could have given me. Have you ever had family dismiss your success or try to take what you've earned? How did you handle it? Share your story in the comments below.